Welcome to my podcast, Why Didn't Anyone Tell Me This? With my guests, we are discussing health issues, questions you may have about your health, and debunking some of the many myths about our health. And today I am talking to Mel Berry, co founder of Her Spirit with her friend Holly Woodford. Mel is an experienced triathlon and swimming coach and leads the swimming coaching groups and the development of the overall Her Spirit coaching program. Mel has worked with some of the best athletes, coaches, and business owners in the world. Supporting these experiences has been her chance to help so many people transform their lives. She believes that anyone can achieve anything they want to. But to enable this to happen, you need good people around you to realize this. And this is one of the many reasons she set up Her Spirit. Mel loves to swim. You'll notice we're both, those that are watching this on YouTube, we are both sitting here in our swimming costumes. and she's currently training to swim the length of Coniston twice in one weekend and Lake Windermere one way for charity. So, hello, Mel.
Oh, hi, Juice. Thank you so much for having me. And it's the first podcast I've ever done in my bathers. And I've worn my Wonder Woman suit just for you because it gives me huge armor.
And I'm wearing my new Zogs costume, and we're going to talk about this one of the projects later that Her Spirit are doing in collaboration with Zog. So I'm supporting my Zogs today. So Mel, let's start. Can you tell us about your journey so far and why you wanted to set up Her Spirit?
Yeah, thank you, Mum. And my journey is one that I was an expat kid that always loved the water and was always fortunate to be around water and had a great swimming teacher that said to my parents, hey, you should keep her swimming and keep her active. So, I thank those that in my early formative years helped to give me that love of the thing that I still do, which is water. And the journey and obviously moving that very quickly on a few decades of why Her Spirit is myself and Holly want to inspire 1 million women to be fitter, stronger, and healthier. And we know that there's huge issues with women's health. If you take swimming alone, 500,000 women less swim than they swam 3 years ago. And we wanted to be able to create a brand that had a heartbeat of an amazing community, people like yourself, Joyce, that inspire others. And Her Spirit is all around a beautiful quote by Maya Angelou, and it's about a woman, flowing freely to find her spirit and only her spirit. And we, like you, Joyce, we want to change the world, and we want to make it an even better place for all women. And you know what? Have a lot of fun at the same time. And I can't wait for our first swim together.
I can't as either. We're going to be doing that very soon. So you mentioned quite a bit about Her Spirit there, and you've got a great mission statement. Do you want to tell us what your mission statement is?
Yeah, look, our mission statement, I guess, is twofold. It's that first bit to inspire 1 million women to be fitter, stronger, and healthier. And I think the important point on that's about women's physical health, mental health, and nutritional health, because they're all intrinsically linked. And we want to make it accessible for all women. So for us, being able to deliver on that is easily through the digital solution, obviously through the app, because we know that through all the learnings that we've had over the last 5 years is so many women do it for the love of others before they do it for the love of themselves. We know that women lack confidence. They'll have a plethora of reasons why they can't do something. And in turn, that means that their confidence level aren't as high as that they should do. So, it's being able to bring those together. And look, it's about all women. It's about shapes, sizes, ethnicities, ages, the kind of the works, because we know what makes women the same is our superpower, isn't it? We inspire each other just to, try something a little bit different, try something a little bit crazier. And I apologise, Joyce, in advance for obviously all the crazy challenges we do together, but I can guarantee you'll have a great time doing them.
Well, for me, I'm doing a lot of work at the moment with women over 50. I'm interviewing 50 women over 50 for my next book. And I think what you've just said ticks so many of those boxes, because you've got the community of women coming together, which I think, especially as we get older, I'm finding women are finding this, their tribe or their women's circles is so much more important. But we're also encouraging everyone to exercise, which we're going to delve a bit more into. I have done many podcasts on exercise because I told you, Mel, it's absolutely always been, I'm very lucky my whole life. It's been really up there with my number one passion of hobbies and interests that I do. But also we've got um, the challenge. I think, and sometimes when I ask women about, how do you feel about challenges, they're like, oh, no, no. And I think they think I'm suggesting they climb Everest like my dear friend Jessica Hepburn, but it's certainly not. Challenges can be as little as I'm going to go for a half-hour walk today, or I'm going to cook something, I'm going to do some gardening. A challenge can be as small as you like. But I think with what I love about her spirit is that getting women to do those little challenges or big challenges are really a win-win. So I think those three things together are something that I'm very passionate about. We're going to go into some of those in a bit more detail. But one more thing about the app. So I know, how does it work? So I know there's a free version and a paid version. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the two?
Yeah, we know that to deliver on our social mission, which is those 1 million, many women and can't afford to be able to invest in themselves. So for us, if you go to herspirit.co.uk, you can sign up for free. It gives you access to the global community. It gives you access to live classes. So every day there's something. Today was the wonderful Rianne Bowden doing functional strength, because again, as we start to mature, and we are women in our maturative years, we start to lose muscle. And for us, again, that's a really important message for, all women to know that they can kind of access. They can access some challenges. It's interesting, we talk about challenges as small steps lead to big changes. And that's about those bite-sized chunks. So, for example, we're doing one dedicated in Bolton. It's about 10 minutes a day. And if you move 10 minutes every day for what is, 30 odd days, again, that changes your behavior, it changes obviously your kind of perception. But we know that if you do invest in yourself, you pay attention, and an hour it's only $79.99 for a year, and you get access to coaches. And yeah, I'm one of those coaches, and I kind of lead on all things endurance swimming. But we've got other amazing coaches, someone like Helen Jenkins. Yes, Helen was a 2-time world triathlon champion, but she wants to make sure that every woman on the school gate, of which she's now a retired athlete and mum of two, feels that they can, take on whatever they want to, and the power of the peer support, again, within those communities. So I would just say, look, if you struggling, just come and join for free and understand what Her Spirit can support and offer you. And if you feel that investing less than £80 for the whole year, then I definitely would I would guarantee that you will be fitter, stronger, and healthier, and you'll get a lot of other new friends during that process, which I think is really powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, and I love that. A challenge can be, as you said, just moving for 10 minutes a day, which some of us just, sometimes the day goes so quick, and the next thing you're back in bed. And you think, oh, did I, I keep saying I'm going to, when I'm working at home, I've got this challenge to myself that I'm going to go for a walk. I live in a lovely village in the countryside. I'm going to go for a walk every afternoon. And I can tell you, I can count on one hand in the last month how many times I've actually
Mm.
done that. So I will try to do
Do you
it
need me
again.
to ring you every day, Joyce?
Alert on my phone. Mel's going to be on the phone. 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Use that quality time. So yeah, challenges. I love it. Not, just small steps, those little small steps. And you just feel such a sense of achievement afterwards. It's really, really great. And I was talking to you about this before we started recording, but um, I am out there as a cold water swimmer, but I do feel sometimes a bit of a fraud because I meet people like you and others who are swimming, miles and miles all the time. People swimming the channel. I've got a few friends that swim the channel, but it doesn't matter. We're all doing our own thing, and it's what we do for ourselves. So don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Do everything for yourself. And Susan Saunders' podcast is going to come out after this, and we talked a lot about health generally, but she said it's in your hands. So it's in your hands, and it's all about you and nobody else. So just do what you want to do, and don't worry about the big challenge.
Yeah, and I think a really important thing is the words that I use to many is comparison is the thief of joy. just because you are doing something and somebody might be going faster, longer, different, why should you feel anything other than success because you're doing what you've done? And life changes. I'm back after a total hip replacement, just 5 and a bit months in. And I went, I'm doing a big cycle challenge as well. And I can't compare myself to what I was because I'm now moving a lot more than I did 4 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 months ago. Um, so definitely comparison is the thief of joy, and just find something that makes you smile. I look at both of us and we've got the two biggest smiles on our face. We're 50-year-old women sitting in swimming costumes on a podcast, but we love what we do, right?
I wish I was 50, but I'm 61. But
Oh, wow. Even better. There you go.
I am rather related as well because I've just done 45 minutes in the lake, and it was, the temperature at the moment, and we're going to talk about swimming more in a minute, but the temperature at the moment is just, so I always feel like I'm super hyper after coming out the lake. So the smile is definitely my post lake smile for sure. But let's talk about exercise. I have asked many guests this question, but I just think the message, I think we can keep repeating it because the message doesn't seem to get through all the time. Why do you feel exercise is so important for women's health?
I think exercise is important for all women's health, and that's mental and physical health. Because, look, we know the hard facts. It's good for cardiovascular, it's good for diabetes, it's good for your musculoskeletal, so for your bone health. And for somebody that, again, has gone through a total hip replacement, getting strong, moving, all those things probably meant that I was a year longer having the surgery that I did. So I guess they're the clinical things. But the important thing that I want to get across is about camaraderie. It's about mental health, that whether or not it was me, I don't know, 6 years ago when I was in the barrels of a pretty bad mental health space, every day I would get up and I would be active. And it wasn't about getting active for those clinical reasons. It was getting out because I was connecting every day with somebody who made me feel included, made me feel happy, that we talk about it as a physical, but I think that mental health piece, and I know you love cold water swimming more than I, and again, that's that real camaraderie in the months where it's dark, it's cold, it's really hard to be active. And you meet amazing friends. And I think the important thing is when you come together, you have that social connection. I think that, it's that coffee and cake after, it's the going to places that you never thought that you would, because you get to see places of the world that without that camaraderie of others being active, you would ordinarily only see a very small part of the world. So look, I'm a convert, and I would say to any woman, just have a go. And I'm going to steal Kath Pendleton's suggestion, so it's not me. If you don't find what you like the first time, have a go at something else, and then have a go at something else. And I think, and I would echo Kath, and I'm sure you're kind of nodding away, is I think 3 times in, you'll have found something, and it will make you feel so physically good, but it will make you feel mentally so powerful that you can take on anything that you truly want to.
I love that. There are so many different things out there. And we've been talking a lot recently about when we were at school, lots of things are sort of almost beaten out of us. One is something slightly different to what we're talking about today. One is creativity. I think we lose our creativity in schools. But I do think that most schools, the way we're working with sports and exercise, it's all about competition. And I think that many people lose that potential love of exercising and sports because of what happens at school. And I mean, I'm not particularly athletic. I was part of the hockey and the volleyball teams, but I would never win a race or do well on individual things. But I think as adults, as you say, try things. There's so many, there's Nordic hiking, there's cycling, there's dancing, there's all sorts of amazing sports out there. And locally, I'm sure there's, I love the guys now. They're doing walking football for the older guys. I think
Mm.
somewhere's doing walking netball as well. So badminton, table tennis, just find local groups. And as you said, that camaraderie. And you mentioned mental health, and we're actually recording this in Mental Health Week.
Mm.
And I think one of the problems that I see is not people not joining up as you have the link between exercise and mental health. It's so rarely discussed. And I think that's so important. So, mental health really, it's a no brainer. Exercise really does improve mental health, doesn't it?
Yeah, and look, this month, and it is, you're right, it's Mental Health Awareness Week, is about movement. And I know you saw it, but a wonderful functional strength lead, Ree, and she did dancing. So, you know what? Why don't you find a couple of minutes every day just to crank the music up and kind of dance? Nobody needs to see your moves unless you're like her and she's really good. That's why I've not shared anything. But that community is really powerful. And for us at Her Spirit, again, within the app, we have what's called Meetup. So you can see others that are around you, and you can then start to see, okay, I don't want to expose myself by connecting with that person, but I can see those person's posts. I can see what they're up to. I like that person. I trust that person. That person kind of looks like me. And every Friday I do a post around what are you doing this weekend? Because what happens is women connect and go, oh, right, I'm actually away in so and so location. Can I come and join you? And the culture that we created is a one that is open, and you can then again go and do something with some women. It's about building those friendship groups, isn't it? Because they're so powerful. And you get to do different things, and that's brilliant because you don't always want to swim. You might want to cycle. You might want to go and do something. I don't know what crazy challenge. What activity can we take on, kind of, Joyce? I don't know. Maybe belly dancing. What do you think? You're probably a lot more mobile than I am around the waist.
I have actually done a belly dancing course with some friends locally a few years ago.
There
And
you
we,
go.
yeah, I've still got my little scarf there. Absolutely loved it. Um, I'll share a little story. So at the weekend, I was in Bournemouth in my new camper van, just about making it along. It's a very old camper van, but we, I was with friends that I originally met through swimming. I met one of them through swimming, and then the rest of them who were with us at the weekend were all paddleboard. They are all paddleboarders. So we swam every day in the sea. It was beautiful, but we also went. I was in my kayak, and they were on their paddleboards. We went kayaking, paddleboarding. But the real thing, the real reason why we're in Bournemouth was because we went. People will know that I go to day raves, and they had a day rave on the pier in Bournemouth. From we got there about 5 o'clock till 10:30. It was just idyllic, and we were dancing away.
Mm.
It was just absolutely fabulous. Till I must say, my feet did feel very broken by 10:30. But it was only when I got back that I realised that all the friends I were with are actually in their 40s. And as I said, I'm 61,
Mm.
but it doesn't matter. And these are all new friends. I didn't know these people before lockdown. And there I was coming back from this beautiful, perfect weekend in Bournemouth. And so, let's encourage women to get out there, meet new people. It will lead to so many other things as well. But besides our mental health,
And
sorry, carry on.
I was going to say, age is nothing but a number, and your example was a brilliant one. And I used the one, we had a Her Spirit meetup at cycling event in a place called the Vale of Beaver. If you look at it, it'll say Belvoir. And Ellie, who repeatedly said, "Oh, I'm going to be 70 next year," bearing in mind that, Ellie's just recovered from breast cancer. She's on her bike. She loves it. She's white and spangly, and she comes and does something with, there was the 20 somethings from Cambridge that are really struggling to connect with other 20-year-olds because they've left university, they've got their first job in Cambridge. So you've got Georgina in their 20s and Ellie in her soon to be kind of 70s. And that's, I guess, the essence of Her Spirit. What makes women the same? Let's not talk about what makes women different. their age, their location, because we are women with superpowers. And when you bring each other together, whether or not you're doing your day rave in Bournemouth, I'm looking forward to seeing the videos of that. I can already kind of picture it. I think it's transformational because you thrive, and everything at Her Spirit is about thriving, whether or not it's thriving through midlife or thriving through, I guess, a lump or a bump in your life. And you need others to do that. And you talk about that. These are friends that you met 4 or 5 years ago, and you have now probably some of the best experiences of your life.
Yeah, and I one term that we mentioned in one of the other podcasts that's coming out soon, um, transgenerational, cross generational,
Mm.
and it's great. You know, women, we don't need to worry what age we are. It is just a number, and if we're all together having a wonderful time, then that's just absolutely a win-win. So yeah, let's get those women together. I wanted to ask one more thing about health. So
Mm.
you know, we are of the older age, and things like dementia and cancer and other major illnesses, heart disease, um, are much more on our radar. But again, I wanted to hear what you thought about, well, the views of the important data we have, so much information about exercise reducing the risk of these major diseases.
Yeah, and let's pick up on the breast cancer side, because it's something that we've obviously had several conversations with, and we did a big charity fundraiser 2 years ago called Lakes to London, and that was raising money for breast cancer now. But one of the key themes, and picking up on your question, is if we were an active nation, we would reduce the breast cancer diagnosis by up to 25%. It's a lifestyle thing. That's one thing that we can change. Breast Cancer Now's mission is by 2050 that every woman or every person diagnosed with breast cancer, because it's both gender cancer, will live and live well. But I was interesting, Holly was on a call to a GP in Derbyshire. And again, that reminder that it was 1 in 10 not long ago, it's now 1 in 7. So lifestyle can be changed. And if you have and you are on a breast cancer journey, the importance of being active again is just so, so important that, again, you can reduce the chances of secondary by up to 40%. And I think not enough medical professionals are diagnosing and allocating and prescribing exercise, and they should, because again, if we move, so we're talking about breast cancer as one specific, but I was on a call earlier today with some colleagues in Bolton and Greater Manchester. Diabetes, you talk about kind of dementia, is you kind of put that into that. So, well, you can't remember, but how can exercise be something? The stimulus of being around others and being able to have that is a really important thing. Um, yeah, I could go on in terms of kind of lists, but those stats specifically with breast cancer, I just think are eye-watering. And many people that I talk to, we've obviously got a wonderful shared friend in Dr. Liz O'Riordan. And again, echo those things as utter importance. Come on, let's get moving. Be inspired from what you've heard today and just move a little bit more.
So, because I will talk about the breast cancer campaign in a minute, but because of that, I've been talking to lots of women about this, and the story I've heard several times recently is, oh yes, I had a friend that got breast cancer and then radically
Mm.
changed their life, and they looked at their nutrition, their exercise, etc., etc. And one thing I've been trying to get through to people, and GPs, you mentioned, I was on a call with some GPs this week, and I said, none of you have mentioned lifestyle. You're all, it was about menopause. They're all just talking about
Yeah.
HRT, which absolutely has its place. But why aren't we telling everybody, not just when they've got breast cancer or when they're perimenopausal, before that, if we can prevent these issues, which we really can with lifestyle, seriously reduce the risk. I just don't understand why GPs, health professionals, everyone and schools are not talking about this. It would revolutionize the health service. It would reduce the bills. I just don't understand why it's not
No,
out there.
and I think it's like echo your thought on the menopause, and I know we've obviously spoken about this, and everybody that I say that, oh, I'm really struggling, look, the three things that you can do if you're at the start of your menopause journey: be active, number one. It is a really, really, really good thing. Your body produces free hormones. It produces testosterone, it produces estrogen, it produces all the things that you ordinarily look through. Think about your alcohol consumption. It's not about saying don't drink, but think about, when do I drink? How much do I drink? How can I limit the amount that I drink? And how can I nurture myself? So how can I eat well? And I think all of those things then mean that you sleep better, you feel less stressed. And I know we talked about it last week, the wonderful Dr. Anise Mukherjee. I remember having a conversation with her, and she said the amount of people that come through and go, my HRT isn't working. And you go, okay, let's talk about lifestyle. Are you moving? No. How much are you drinking? Well, I have a glass of red wine every day. And then I get really hungry, so I have an extra X. So HRT is a great product. I'm happy to say, on this podcast, I've been on HRT for the last 5 years. I've had the support of wonderful people like Dr. Nigar Arif and others that have helped me to understand. All I'm doing is putting back in the hormones that I've lost through my wonderful, 4 or 5 decades. And it's back to lifestyle, isn't it? So we need to educate the workforce that are doctors, social prescribers. And unfortunately, Joyce, far too many of those aren't active themselves. So that's one of many reasons why they don't prescribe it, because they don't like it, they don't enjoy it. So it's far easier to say, here's some paracetamol or here's some whatever it is. We always talk about activity as a super pill. And you know what? That super pill's free, and you end up having a life that you never thought possible.
Yeah, I'm surrounding myself by people that are preaching the same message, and we just need to get it out there. And I'm so happy that our menopause project, my colleague Shima Tarek, has finally found a wonderful name for our menopause education support project, and we've called it In Tune, and I think it applies not just for the menopause, it's women. And our tagline is, women need to be in tune with their menopause, in tune with their body, and in tune with each other. And I think that is a message for the whole of our lives. And we, don't, as I said, don't wait. Because I work a lot on fertility, I have people that come when they're trying to get pregnant and now of the perimenopause. And then the same thing, they're drinking, they're not exercising, they're eating crap food. We're bombarded with, rubbish food. I just don't get it. I've been around the supermarket with an app that looks at ultra processed food, and I was obviously not surprised, but horrified. Why are we giving our populations these terrible foods and not really looking after their well-being? It makes no sense to me. But I'm going to stop shouting about that today.
Yeah, look, on the nutrition side, we call them the quick fix peddlers, because everyone's looking for a quick solution. So whether or not it's, I can't eat carbohydrates, it's very topical. Carbohydrates are so, 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 so important for all women, and they're more important for you as you go through that perimenopause journey. And there are so many other things. And I'm a staunch advocate of challenging anybody that thinks that fasting is good for you. Fasting was based on research for men, and it's not the right thing to be able to do. And, we've had the support and conversation with people like, if you want to know more, have a look at Renee McGregor. I think she's brilliant in what she is talking about. I think in essence, all the things that we talked about in the last half an hour is about nourish yourself with good food. And if you're really confused, think about it in two things: make it colourful and make it fresh. So the fresher you can be. And for us, coaching is across nutrition, mental health, and physical health, because we have to have everything that's underpinned by people that actually are correct in what they say, versus the group that probably confuses you to go, well, should I be eating this, should I be eating that? Ordinarily, it's just being given a bit of knowledge that empowers you to then be able to do things, or in this instance, eat well and think, oh, I feel a bit more healthy, which means I want to be more active. And one thing that I haven't talked about, hydration. Hydration is so, so important. You're sipping away at your kind of drink. I've got mine. It isn't a beer. It's a bit of orange. That's fueling, isn't it? You're fueling your body, whether or not it's emotionally, physically, nutritionally, to think, hey, I feel great. What can I do? How can I take on things that I never thought possible?
Yeah, I'm one of those weird people that don't drink tea or coffee. So people say, "What do you drink?" And I say, "I drink water and champagne." And I
Good.
do
I
drink.
like the combination, and I hope it's good champagne.
It's good champagne. And I decided this when I was 19. I was never a big drinker. It's not really my thing, even at 19. And I always would say I'm the designated driver. I'll drive. But I always thought if I'm going to drink anything, I want it to be something really nice. So at 19, I said,
Hmm.
when I go out, I'm just going to have one glass of champagne. And I'm still doing that at 61. So I'll just have the one glass and I'll have a nice glass of champagne. Or, which is it's not, actually, if I go to a conference, I do drink the wine I don't have to pay for. But yeah, water. There's nothing wrong with, I'm not against people drinking tea or coffee. I know they drink a lot of it, but yeah, water, good old water's really pretty good for us. Um,
Yeah.
can we talk a little bit about the types of exercise? And I've talked to lots of people on podcasts before about obviously a range of exercise is great. But one thing I think we miss quite a lot, and we know that women should do weight bearing, etc., but you've talked a lot about on your website and things about heart raising activity. And
Yep.
tell us about that, and what could we do, and how often should we do heart raising activity?
Yeah, so what good looks like is 150 minutes of heart raising activity. So if you are someone that wears a watch, so I've got an Apple Watch, it tells me, how hard, my heart is beating. If you don't have that, it should be to the point that if I was walking, running, swimming, skipping with Joyce, I'd still be able to have a conversation, but I would then be thinking about that conversation because my heart is starting to obviously kind of beat accordingly. Then 60 minutes of strength work. So again, that's kind of important. Strength work can be just doing, like an exercise snack every day, 10 minutes of doing something while the kettle's boiling, squats, press ups, the kind of works. And so that's what good looks like. And what we created at Her Spirit is, I guess, a bit of gamification and our dashboard that every week you close that kind of circle on both your exercise and obviously your strength training. You can kind of see how that's kind of made up across all those kind of activities. And I think look, I love swimming, I love cycling. I'm not running at the moment because of the reasons that you obviously kind of talked about. So I love strength training, but it's anything that gets your heart beating. And look, that could be gardening, because actually if you're gardening and you're getting your heart rate up and you're kind of moving and you're moving things, actually that's really good strength. And again, it's just so important for that heart to beat. You only have that one heart and it needs to be used. And I think that, we talk about it that the more you use it, the more you want to use it, because actually that's a kind of a really good thing. So in terms of how much, look, little and often, it's to some people, or lots and often. It's about what's kind of right for you. Time of day, I'm a morning person. I get up and do it because then it's done. I know how it makes me feel for the rest of the day. And, we put a post on yesterday around, how that habit formation means that you are less likely to want to snack. But again, find obviously the time that kind of works for you. And do things you enjoy. Don't do things because you feel that you should do or you have to, or your mate kind of like bullies you into. Because ultimately, if you don't enjoy what you do, you are less likely to want to do all of those and then want to kind of try kind of different things. So 150 minutes every week, heart raising activity, and 60 minutes of strength is what good looks like. And do different things, because you know what? I'm sure you will get to find something that you never thought you would enjoy, and then suddenly you did. I'm slightly scared about our belly dancing together, but I'm ready for it.
My other secret it's not a secret anymore, but I have said it a few times on podcasts. I can still do the splits as well. Only
I
one
can't do that. I definitely
yeah.
can't do that.
Only one way. I can't with my
Dear,
left leg.
yeah, do you want me to write that letter? Dear Mr. Manctolo, he was my surgeon. I'm really sorry that I've dislocated my total hip replacement because I tried to do the single splits with Joyce, having had 2 glasses of champagne and thinking that I could do anything. So I'll write it and you can send it. I'll address the letter just in case, we get a little bit excited on that one. But I definitely, mobility is definitely something I need to do more of.
Yeah, when people see me do it, they say, "Oh, I have to learn how to do it." And I said, "Look, I've done it my whole life. Don't necessarily stop that now. I don't want anyone dislocating their hips." But one thing I've we get all these social media people. One thing I've
Hmm.
see that they're putting out is they're saying that older women shouldn't do so much cardio because they are saying it affects our metabolic rate and it's not good for us. And I get bombarded with a few of these, and I do a total mix. I've just done body balance today before I went to the lake, which is really relaxed, like it's like a yoga class. But I love body attack and body combat. I love the buzz, that goose pimple moment when you're really working hard. I love that. So do you think that
Hmm.
older women shouldn't do um cardio exercise?
No. And
Good.
look, again, it's understanding that you want your heart to beat. And yes, through strength training and lifting a lot of weight, you do raise your heart rate. But it's important to be able to do that cardiovascular because I think that if you're doing exercise that are kind of walking and running, it's really good for your musculoskeletal, for your bone health as well. And yeah, look, it's a mixture of is you've got to get your heart beating, and that's critically important. And adding and supporting things like strength work. And you talk about body balance. Body balance is probably, without knowing the session that you did, is probably a lot of strength because it's about core strength. It's about being able to go through a movement pattern that you need to have functional strength. And we talk a lot about that. And that's why Rianne Bowden's and classes on a Friday morning for us are brilliant because you do things that you think, well, that's quite easy. And then you wake up the following day and you're like, oh my God, why have I got such delayed onset muscle soreness in my X's? Because there's sometimes little muscles that you don't use. So no, 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 do cardiovascular exercise.
I'm so glad you said that. I wasn't going to stop. I didn't
Phew.
believe. I didn't believe them, and yeah, body balance. I must say, sometimes we get in positions. I think I might be stuck. Oh, I've got to untangle myself. But I love no. A perfect week for me. I've been
Hmm.
speaking to Davina about this recently, actually, about how much exercise we do, and a perfect week for me is doing. I try to do two. I do the Les Mills. I've done Les Mills for decades, but I try to do 2 body pumps, which is with the weights, at least 1 body balance. But the
Yep.
teacher's fabulous, so I've done 2 this week, and then a mix of body combat and body attack. And I do love a class called Body Jam, but we only had 1 teacher that ever taught it, and she's not teaching now. And Body Jam's a dance class, and it does a little routine, and by the end you've got a big routine and you're doing this whole thing, and the buzz of that. But I can't find, so if anyone knows anyone that does Body Jam that's not too far from where I live, then I'm going to come along to that. But let's move on to your campaign. So Her
Hmm.
Spirit does a
Yep.
number of campaigns, and you've got a wonderful one out for June, hence our swimming costumes. So it's the 4-week virtual swim challenge with in collaboration with Zogs to try and raise
Yep.
funds for breast cancer now. So tell us all about that.
Yeah, so every year we do what's called an act of kindness, and this is about revisiting our support of breast cancer now. And it's about all the messages that we've talked about, so how activity is really important for. So, over the period of June, so from the 1st to the 30th, we are asking women to come and swim with us. So, you could choose one of the 3 distances. So, we've got 5 miles, which is the length of Lake Coniston, You can choose 7 miles, 7.5 miles. That's the length of Lake Ullswater, or you can choose 11 miles, which is the length of Windermere. And you know what? If you look at those three distances and think, look, there's no way that I'm going to be able to cumulatively swim that distance in June, choose your own distance. We've got a great ambassador. So a big shout out to Tasha Thompson from Black Girls Do Run. Tasha's distance is 400 meters. So Tasha is challenging herself every week to swim 400 meters, because actually cumulatively over the month, that's going to be her 1 mile. And it's great talking to her because, I talked about there are many women that come from a Black community that don't know how to swim. And she said, look, my parents didn't encourage me to swim, but it's a life skill. And, I know the wonderful Dr. Nighat Arif is the same, is it's really important. She said, there's 3 things I get my kids to do is read, write and swim, because it's an important thing to be able to do. And so come and join us for that challenge. You choose your distance. It's £19.99. Why are we putting a charge? Because 55% of that goes directly to breast cancer now. We know a lot of people struggle to either ask or, get anybody to kind of support them. So you do that. You get your wonderful swim cap at the start, which is going to be like your badge of honour. We give you your medal at the end. And again, look, it's about completing your distance. So it doesn't have to be any of those. And we support you with everything that Her Spirit has to offer. So you can come and do strength for swimmers, or you can come and do some yoga and kind of Pilates. And it's about meeting up. So through the month of June, we're actively encouraging, and we want to get 1,000 women. And thanks to the support of people like you that are obviously promoting and helping us to get that, is we want women in June to meet each other, and we want them to swim together. We always talk about digital is an enabler. It's not the solution. We are humans. We want to meet and kind of be with each other. So please just go to herspirit.co.uk, click on the Zog Swim for Her challenge and come and sign up. And if we get to 1,000, then we are on our way to raising at least £10,000 for breast cancer now, which is really important for all the research that they do. And you get to wear wonderful swimming costumes. My wonderful, obviously Wonder Woman makes me feel invincible, like you do as well.
I think it's a fantastic challenge, and I like the view that you don't need to get any sponsorship. I've done that in the past. It's always been a bit painful. Yeah. So £20 is not much. It will make us feel part of a community. We're doing our own challenge, whatever we want to do, and we're exercising. So what we said at the beginning, it's a win-win. And I am doing it. I don't normally go in a pool. I am on holiday for part of June. We're just going on holiday in England. So I'd be really happy for people to come and swim with me. So get in touch if anyone wants to come and swim with me. I'm in Devon in the middle of June, and I've got a few days in Hastings before that, the first week of June. And I live near Cambridge, so lots of people know that there's lakes and rivers that we can swim around here. So please, anyone who wants to come and swim with me, get in touch on social media, and we'll try and hook up for sure. Liz and I are going to be doing a swim. It's a few days before this podcast will come out, so we've already done it by then. But we're going to meet with Sarah Parfitt, who's the BBC World Surface producer. And we're going for a swim near Maidenhead. So, get out there and actually getting to different places is a mini adventure as well. So I know some people like swimming in the same place every time. Even some wild swimmers always swim in the same place. I personally love the adventure. I love getting in my car, my van, and just going somewhere new. So let's get swimming and join Mel and me and the others in this really, really great adventure raising money for breast cancer. So Mel, that's brilliant that Her Spirit are doing that.
Yeah, and look, the side of your swimming cap is one of the things we want you to do. As you can see here, it's swim for. We know that many women have friends that are on their breast cancer journey, so you can kind of write down who you're swimming for. Meetups are really important. So I know that we're talking about and keep an eye on all of our channels, either the 8th or 9th of June. We're going to be swimming together at Grafham Water. It's a great open water kind of swim venue. So come and join us. But that's about the community, is when we get those 1,000 women, and through obviously the app that within Her Spirit, there's a global community. It's about saying, well, I'm going to be swimming here and I'm going to be swimming there, because I think it's back to that confidence piece. Is, a lot of women don't have that confidence to go, yeah, I'm going to rock up and go and swim with Mel, Liz, and Joyce in Grafton. But for us, it's about saying, it's okay, come and join us. You can just do 20 meters, or you can go in for, for 2 hours. So please, please, please help us get to that 1,000 women that are going to swim together in June, and help us raise vital money for kind of breast cancer now, because research is critically important. You're a researcher, you know how important that part is, because if we are to enable breast cancer now to deliver on their mission by 2050, let's obviously kind of change and kind of do a few things. And yeah, I'm going to write down probably next week who I'm kind of swimming for, but it's a really great thing to do, and lots of fun, lots of different places to swim, right?
Yeah, and as you said, don't worry about the distance. I keep meeting people where I feel a bit. I did put this on social media last week. I feel a bit of a fraud. I don't stay. I don't swim very far. I'm not a very good swimmer. I'm okay. One of my sons is a swim teacher. He's been trying to teach me. He's back from uni now, so he's going to give me some more lessons. But yeah, I mean, I can swim a mile front crawl in a lake. Not sure I could do it in the sea. But many of the people I know, like you, are swimming, huge distances. But don't worry. You don't even have to swim. Just swim 220 meters, whatever. That's important, isn't it, Mel?
Yeah, and look, it's back to that point. I will say it time and time again, is comparison is the thief of joy. Just get out and do something. Get that heart beating. Get out and be connected with nature. Be connected with others, because we always talk about that once you start to, feel better mentally and physically, your door to life is opened by so many other doors, and you go on adventures that you never thought, possible. And hopefully you're going to be swimming with a wonderful Sally B, who's one of our community members, once this kind of podcast has come out. I look at Sally, who's in a kind of mid-50s, and she's got a twinkle like a 12-year-old, because now she's given herself permission that she can go and do all the different things. And she was hilarious when we had dinner with her recently. She started the conversation, of which was, am I okay to go to X person's swim clinic? And both myself and Holly stopped her halfway through that conversation and went, yep, you're more than capable. Because we knew what she was going to be saying. And it's like, yes, you can do it. And I just love that infectiousness of wanting to do something and do something different. So please, let's get swimming together. Let's make new friendships. Let's change the way that we think. Because if we can create, and that's what we're trying to do at Her Spirit, if we can create a movement that is started by women, and it's about women taking control of being healthier. You look at how Black Lives Matter started, it was an unfortunate set of circumstances, but actually the power of that movement is so, so powerful. And as women, we have the opportunity to create such a powerful movement for change.
It just reminded me then of the first person I ever interviewed on my podcast was my dear, dear friend Jessica Hepburn, who, after years of infertility, wanted to challenge her body, and she did swim the channel, but she wanted.
Brilliant.
She's not a big swimmer. She will tell you she's not an athlete. She's not a big swimmer, but she's very determined. And she wanted to actually swim it breaststroke, but they wouldn't let her. She couldn't do front crawl. When she started, she just decided she wanted to swim the channel, and she couldn't swim front crawl. And everyone along the way said, "There's no way you are going to do this. You are, terrible swimmer." But yeah, please listen to the podcast with her and read her book 21 Miles. She was such an inspiration of someone that went from being a poor swimmer to swimming the channel and succeeding. It's absolutely amazing. So the little challenges that we want for women are absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's the one thing that we say is you're far more capable than you think you are. But to be able to start that thought process of self, you need to be around infectious others, and whether or not that's men or women, you choose the tribe, because if you have that support, then you go on like she did to achieve something that she probably never thought was possible. And it's that mental attitude of success that I think once you open that, you end up doing, things that, you deemed. And, you talked earlier, I did, it was Windermere that I swam last year. And I swam it against obviously kind of a relay team, and we raised money for Move Against Cancer. But the first time I swam Coniston, I didn't succeed because I got too cold and I got out. And, I went back and I've swam Coniston many times. I think it's that mental switch and that mental flick of that switch that you do, that you then start to go, well, what's next? Well, what can I do? And there are lots of things out there. Look, going out and doing a day rave is something I probably wouldn't think about. So you've inspired me to go dancing in my garden after this. I'm sorry to the neighbours if they're listening to my bad music taste.
I do love dancing. I really do love dancing. But one obstacle for some women is money and the cost, and some
Yep.
sports do cost. But I know that Her Spirit are setting up a women's sports fund in July. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so look, again, it's about, we want to raise significant amount of money, and obviously with breast cancer now, we're kind of doing the same. And we always talk about if you can't afford to pay, then we help you, and we've worked with charities such as Women's Trust to then be able to do that. We know that we've gifted lots of free swims, because when again women haven't been able to go to that swimming session, so it's about we want to raise £1 million. As well as obviously inspiring 1 million women to be more active. And why, Joyce, for us, we have a free offer at Her Spirit. So look, if you haven't got a phone, but you might have a computer, then you can access Her Spirit digitally through the web, and a web version. And it means that you can be active at home, and free walking. Walking is free. We have lots of kind of walking challenges to kind of help kind of motivate you along. And if you're a woman listening to this and affordability is something that you think, oh, I can't really do, then please, please, please get in contact, because we never want any woman to feel that they can't be active because they can't afford to. So please let us help you. And if you have a allegiance with a charity, so someone like Women's Trust, then again, we're happy to be able to kind of gift those free subscriptions to kind of motivate. Let's raise £1 million together. Every year we do an act of kindness. So, it's one of those in there as well. So come on, let's support each other through this.
I love that. I love that. Well done. And this podcast is called
Thank you.
This podcast is called Why Didn't Anyone Tell Me This? And have you heard women say this? And what did they say? What did they ask?
Yeah, look, it's interesting. Well, one of our, I guess, key Her Spiriters at the moment is a wonderful woman called Rachel Tanner. And Rachel talks about how she did her first 5K, I think it was a pot run, just over 12 months ago. She then went on to swim Windermere kind of last year, but she's doing Bolton half Ironman. That's her goal on the 30th of June to complete that. So she's gone from, park run to half Ironman. And I just think that so many people, and I guess it's back to your point around how activity is positioned in your formative years. I always had a great experience at school. I guess I was somebody who was quite competent at something, so I continued to carry on that. But if you have a really bad experience in your early years, you're probably going to put exercise and sport, and it's an interesting two words in there, in a really negative way. And I've got a friend that's recently been through her own health issues, but she still isn't active on that. So I just think, look, it's back to that point, Joyce, it's a superpower. It's the magic pill. Why wouldn't you? And what have you got to lose by not doing it and trying it? Because what you thought 20, 30, 10 years ago, I'm sure is going to be completely different. And find your tribe. And that's why for us, Her Spirit as a community is so powerful, because we lift you up when you're feeling low. but we also lift you up to celebrate the success that you've achieved. So have a go, just do it. And I think I remember one of the podcasts, it might have been Dr. Brené Brown, is, what's the worst can happen? You might have really good fun. Hey, that's a really good thing.
We're pretty sure you are going to have fun if you find the right thing. And the final
Yeah.
questions I ask all my guests. So what makes you happy, Mel, and where is your happy place?
My happy place is the water. I love being in the water. I love the way that it makes me feel. That weightlessness of self, that weightlessness of mind, because I think it's the only activity that I can't be connected to a mobile phone in the outside world. I know when I did Windermere and other things, people go, well, don't you get bored? And it's like, no, I was just thinking about all these kind of things. And I think you can be present, and I think it's a really important activity for me that I'm more present because I'm thinking about myself and the environment that I'm in, and I'm not ordinarily thinking about others. So swimming is definitely my happy place. It's where I go to when I am struggling. And I also go where I feel my best. And I can't wait to go to, I think we were going to go to the Mauritius together, wasn't it? Because I like the warm water, you like the cold water, but you're happy to come to Mauritius with me.
Well, my Mauritius story was that I was in this beautiful beach hotel. It was a conference, but I did go swimming every day, and the water. I was swimming, and I was like, "What? I feel like I'm missing something." And I realized what I was missing was the cold. It was too hot, and I wasn't getting a buzz. And then I went, and do you know, I actually didn't want to swim that much. And then I went
Mm,
to the plunge pool in the hotel, and within 2 seconds, I was singing, and I had the biggest smile on my face. And I realized I had really been missing the cold water. So that buzz, I think we're really lucky in
mm,
England. Well, the UK, I
yeah.
think the temperature we have and the variation from 2 degrees to about 22, 23 in open water is takes you through that seasons, and I love all of it. I love the cold, and I love the temperature we get up to. But yeah, Mauritius was too hot. I know it's a bit crazy.
We'll find another venue. We'll find another venue. But I think
Please.
it's that. I guess it's that shared. I listen to you, and you become even more animated than ever when you talk about water. And I guess it's both of our shared kind of happy space, and it's definitely that lack of access to technology. And look, we built Her Spirit from a tech point of view because we need digital to be an enabler and a amplifier and a connector. But the one time that I don't have to and don't think about being digitally connected is in the water, because I can just put my head down and I can just kind of swim. I love, like you, swimming in open water. I love that connection with the outdoors, that expansiveness. And when I swam Lake Windermere, last year, I mean, it's just beautiful, just looking at the world that we live in. And it's about being present. It's about being and feeling kind of safe. I feel safe in water. And I guess ultimately I feel connected and grounded. And those are the things that are really important for me, because if I can be that, then I can be my best self, or a better version of myself, in other parts of, my life, whether or not it's kind of work, relationships, and whatever it might be. So I'm 100% biased, hence why I'm sitting in a Wonder Woman swimming costume. And fortunately, nobody's kind of walked past and delivered from Amazon and wondering what the weirdo is doing sitting on the sofa in a swimming costume.
Well, actually, people can walk past my house, but they're probably used to seeing me do weird
Yeah,
things.
I'll put my swimming hat on for you, to close. That I'm ready to go. Does it inspire
Looks
you to get swimming?
Looks great. Looks great. I hope so. Very last question, Mel. What advice would you give
Yeah.
your younger self?
My younger self, I would say that do the things that make you happy. Be confident in self, that doing things that are right for you are a good thing. And I know there are three things that I've said to my younger self is Do things with others, because the laughter, the belly laugh that you get when you find the right people in the right place, is just brilliant, and it just makes you so happy. So those would be my three things that I would kind of say to kind of my younger self. And I like to, yeah, and that's what I do now. I look forward to lots of belly laughters with you. If we cry, it's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I sometimes cry. I cried yesterday, but that was for another reason. But yeah, Mel, thank you so, so much. I'm sure that was very inspiring, and hopefully we would have inspired a few women to get out and find their tribe and do some exercise. So look forward to the swim challenge in June, and I hope lots of people will come and join us, and look forward to swimming with you very soon. Thank you so much, Mel.
Yeah, yeah, I can't wait. And thank you, Joyce, so much for this opportunity. And yes, bring on many swims and many glasses of champagne together.
Hard life, isn't it? Thanks, Mel.